Exactly 10 days ago, a far left-wing assassin stormed the Secret Service barricades. Not much of a barricades. Most of the officers were looking the other direction. Some of them were on their hands and knees. Everybody was oblivious as this sociopath with a drawn shotgun goes running through their security checkpoint and nearly is able to kill President Trump or members of his staff. That is what he stated he wanted to do. His name was Cole Allen. And all across his social media footprint and all across his manifesto, he said, I just want to kill as many Trump officials as possible. Melania Trump and Donald Trump were on stage in an elevated position. He absolutely could have accomplished this goal, or if God forbid, there had been a more organized, perhaps nation state or terror cell that had staged this attack with fully automatic weapons, you would have been able to have a true shooting range slaughterhouse. Perhaps half of Trump's administration, which was in attendance, would be gone. And so I think it's safe to say if somebody can just waltz through a security checkpoint like this, who is just a retard, right? Like this guy is not a sophisticated operator, that there are some major security holes in the services that protect the president of the United States. Look at all the officers, some of them just running in the opposite direction. They're so terrified of this goofball LARPer who was tackled. They shot at him 7 times and didn't hit him. He never got hit by a bullet. He was just tackled. And now a magistrate judge, Zia Farqui, has apologized to Cole Allen for the treatment that he received in jail. This man attempted to kill President Trump, and now the judges are apologizing to him. Remarkable. Kind of just shows you the nature of Washington, D.C. It is like a cancer cell, and it doesn't want to be fixed. It doesn't want to be made better. It can't be part of the body politic. It actually wants to terminate anything that it sees as a threat to itself, and that is precisely what happened again at the White House today. We are sad to report, here is President Trump on stage at a small business summit at the White House. President Trump cracking wise here, saying, when I get out of office and
this way, when I get out of office in, let's say, 8 or 9 years from now, I'll be able to use it.
President Trump making a joke. A lot of dignitaries there present at the White House, but not a lot of press, and there's a reason why. The press were quarantined. An attack on the free press? No. The press were told by the Secret Service to get down into the White House press pool, which literally used to be an indoor pool at the White House. That's why it's called the press pool. It is almost like an underground bunker. It's musty. It's moldy. There are rats. There are mice. Go there one day and you'll see all the mouse traps everywhere. It's a really gross place. Anyway, indicative of the nature of the press, the U.S. Secret Service just evacuated us in our camera position, the White House lawn. We're now gathering in the briefing room, no indication what's going on. So the Secret Service went out and grabbed all the press inside of the White House and shoved them into the press pool room. Secret Service directed press off of the North Lawn into the briefing room. White House lockdown. The White House lockdown. Everyone had to, of course, take all their gear and equipment. It takes quite a while to set all this up. And they all had to run down into the press room. What exactly is going on? White House is on lockdown following a shooting. What happened exactly? Nobody was quite sure at the time of this breaking. Everybody was concerned. Journalists brought into the briefing room heard gunfire in the streets surrounding the White House. What happened? Let's look at the Secret Service. U.S. Secret Service personnel are on the scene of an officer-involved shooting on 15th Street and Independence Avenue in Washington, D.C. One individual was shot by law enforcement. Their condition is unknown. Avoid the area. The Metropolitan Police for Washington, D.C. said that the area and the roads will be closed for several hours after they engaged in a shooting. Police blocked, this is of course right across from the White House, police blocked down all of the roads, locked down all of the roads all around the White House complex as gunshots were heard. What exactly is going on? Secret Service confirms that a man was shot by law enforcement. He was at the White House. Now the White House is locked down. More details are not immediately available. These gunshots were near the White House. Individual says law enforcement shot someone near the White House. Of course, you can see how close to the White House this was. It's literally on White House grounds. This is all considered White House grounds. So somebody brought a gun very close to White House grounds and engaged. There were 6 shots fired, engaged with the officers. Secret Service says there's an officer involved shooting at the White House. 1 person was shot. Condition is unknown. POTUS is speaking in the East Room currently. This was while President Trump was speaking. Shots fired at the Washington Monument, just steps from the White House. You can see here the police response. If you know Washington, D.C., you'll know exactly where this is, and you'll know that a well-hit baseball would be able to travel from the Washington Monument to the White House. So if you had a firearm there or a gun, you could actually potentially hit the White House quite easily. Secret Service says 1 individual was shot this afternoon and the condition is unknown. Okay, so let's go ahead. There's new breaking news on all of this. Secret Service Uniform Division shot a man who they thought might have a gun at the White House this afternoon before President Trump's press conference. When the Secret Service's officers confronted the man, it went sideways and they ended up shooting him, sources said. Ooh. All security officers are safe, but the man is down. He is in custody, and he did have a gun. Tough look. I mean, listen, man, if you're going to get into confrontation, start screaming at cops or Secret Service, and you're in Washington, D.C., and it's a extremely heightened security profile. Again, there was an assassination attempt on the president. There's been tons of incidents at the White House. I asked AI, like, how many attacks have occurred at the White House? Several notable attacks have occurred. This is since 2024, since President Trump took office. Breaches of the perimeter, shootings, gunfire reports, high-profile attempts tied to President Trump. They reflect ongoing challenges with the security perimeter, vehicle rammings, the fence, jumping, targeting, and violence. Obviously, there was a National Guard shooting that was fatal. That's just a block from the White House. Gunfire near Lafayette Square, White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting, perimeter breaches, multiple fence jumping attempts and breaches have occurred with men jumping over the barrier. Earlier examples include car crashes into the gates. Some of them were fatal. These events led to heightened Secret Service scrutiny, temporary White House lockdowns, broad discussions about political violence, and protective measures for the high-profile attacks. As far as we know, right now, everything went off without a hitch, the president's event, but this did happen while Donald Trump was speaking, and it happened, of course, within window shot of the White House. Of course, these are bulletproof windows, and there are plenty of other security measures that I'm sure I don't even know anything about. I guess it's nice to see somebody taking an aggressive stance. I look forward to hearing more about this. What is it that made Secret Service see that this man was a threat? If he did, in fact, have a gun, was he brandishing it? Did he say he was going to kill the president or something like that? There's a lot that we still don't know. But ladies and gentlemen, as ever, pray for our commander-in-chief. It is a very, very dangerous job. See you.